The Asia Young Indigenous Peoples Network, formerly known as the Asia Pacific Indigenous Youth Network, was created in April 2002 during the first International Indigenous Youth Conference that was held in Baguio City, Philippines, and it was organized by the Cordillera People's Alliance through its Youth Commission, now known as the Cordillera Youth Center. During that conference, it gathered 83 indigenous youth worldwide, and there was a workshop wherein the participants were divided into regions. So one of the regions is the Asia Pacific region. So one of the recommendations, and I think that's one of the important recommendations from that workshop, is to establish a regional indigenous youth formation so that it can also serve as a platform or voice of the indigenous youth, especially that during that time there were only few or limited indigenous youth platform at the regional and global level. So the birth of AIPIN was established from that workshop of the Asia Pacific region. So the Asia Pacific Indigenous Youth Network was formed. And also during that conference, actually it was timely to call for a first International Indigenous Youth Conference because in 2002, that was the height of the issue on globalization. So the indigenous participant shared the impacts or effects of globalization in their communities and to them as indigenous youth. So also in the various workshops that followed, they came up with good recommendations aside from the effects that they felt, or the impact of globalization to them and their communities, and they came up with good recommendations on how to address these issues. And one of that is the strengthening of the voices of the indigenous youth from the local to international level.
Since the political situation in Bangladesh, especially in Chittagong Hill Tracts, is getting worse day by day, the indigenous youths are failing to get involved in the political movement for the rights of indigenous peoples and our self-determination. It's really getting difficult for us, like indigenous youth, especially for women. It's because we are concerned about our security, and some indigenous youth, they really want to they want to get involved in this type of situation. That's why migration is also happening. They are migrating to the city areas. So to motivate our indigenous youth, we're running a campaign, Let's Go Back to Roots, from the organization CHT Youth Admin Network. So we can connect our indigenous youth who are working or studying in city areas like Dhaka, Chittagong, main city. We're trying to make a bridge with our elders in the community, and then with our young people from both Plainlands and the Chittagong Hill Tracts, so we can make our movement more strong and then meaningful. And also we really want to engage our indigenous youth in the movement of our indigenous people's rights in a national level and as well as in the international level. We have started this campaign in 2017 with the support from Land is Life, and again with the support from Pawanka in cooperation with the Asia Young Indigenous Peoples Network, where we are trying to gather our indigenous young people both from Chittagong Hill Tracts and the Plainlands area of Bangladesh. Throughout these years, IUPN has helped me to reach to many indigenous young leaders who are working and fighting for their rights in the different corners of the world. Thus, I have been able to reach many indigenous young leaders around the world and learn their success stories and exchange our knowledge from my side, from my country, and I also been able to learn from their success stories as well. And I'm passing this knowledge to my fellows as well, so we can make a strong unity and make our movement more stronger back home.
Hello everyone, this is Anish Shrestha. I'm from Nepal. I'm currently associated with the Youth for Environment, Education and Development Foundation, YFIT Foundation, Nepal. The issues that our organization is currently focusing or working on, like as per our name, Youth for Environment, especially we focus with the environmental issues and concern, especially the growing threat on the climate change, pollution, and other biodiversity loss problems and other harms that's development and other threats that are bringing to the environment. So we are much concerned to that, and so our organization is focusing on how we can involve or how we could raise the concern and issues of indigenous people and youth, particularly indigenous youth, to the environmental action, and how we could preserve and how we could protect our environment for the future generation. Also, how we can innovate and how we can have indigenous youth participation on the attainment of sustainable development goals, and how we can raise awareness and our engagement to those processes.
Hi, I'm Kampel. Yeah, I come from Cambodia Indigenous Youth Associations. I would like to talk about the effecting on indigenous youth in Cambodia. The special effecting like harassment on the woman, rape and kills, and we have the discrimination from the Cambodian people. We call Khmer people when we are at high school. Yes, and especially we have discrimination on the on hospital, because we have no money like Cambodian people have no much money like Cambodian people, so we need to pay more money for them. So if we have no money, we cannot access a good quality like in hospital, like a good hospital. Yes, for education, we cannot competition with the Cambodian people, because like school, we are mostly, you know, that indigenous people live so far from the city, so related to the school or the good quality teachers have no there. And then when the indigenous people graduate from high school, they continue to study at university. They have no ability to competition to get scholarship with the Khmer people. Yes.
In our part of the world, I mean, for indigenous youth, because all we have is land with us, you know, because it's inherited land. But in the name of the energy need of the country, India, our country has pushed for a hydro dam there. And there are not just one or two dams, there are multiple dams in our sacred rivers, in our sacred land of origination. So, and also because we come from Himalayan states, our topography are very difficult. So we all live near the river Rhine. So because of this dam, all our lands being, land being grabbed by the big companies, corporates, and that's why we are now in verge of being refugee in our own land. So this is one big problem for the Lepcha indigenous youth in Sikkim.
Jiten Yumnam, I come from Manipur and I belong to the Meitei people. Good thing about our network is we are able to, through our constant engagement and also, enhancing the capacity of many youths. So we already have several youths who are part of the APIAN, taking leadership role at the community level, no, and even at the regional level. I think that is a very good initiative. Many of the APIAN leaders are actually becoming leaders in their own communities, no, and I think this is possible because of the support and also our conscious effort to ensure that they are engaged not just at the community level or the national level, but even at the international level, no. So that is a good achievement of the network, no. So and we also encourage our other youths to be part of this process and also to see how best we can extend our support and solidarity, even to enhance the youth participation even at our the community and the regional and the local context. I think that is a good achievement from our part. So there is, and then the good thing is there are new leaders coming up, many youth leaders, APIAN, for example, is able to build up the leadership and also capacity of several we already have several generations of youth leaders already, but then of course it's a challenge, how do we deepen IEPAN's role and involvement even at the national and subnational context, while also enhancing and strengthening our involvement and engagement and also effective, meaningful engagement even in the larger process now, because now we have new challenges because of course we have long-standing problem with the impact on land, but now because the world is grappling with with climate crisis, for example, and then a lot of the development initiatives, a lot of the policy programs, for example, even in the context of realizing sustainable development goals, this continues to be problematic, problematic for many of the indigenous people. So there has to be more concerted effort to consolidate our initiatives and efforts at the community level, but even also to assume the leadership role at the larger context. So this is.
Adibashi Charobro, Juto Bakshang Lady.
រួបរวมគ្នាសម្រាប់យុវជនជនជាតិអាហ្វ្រិកកម្ពុជា
हामी आदिवासी जनजाति युवाहरू एक हौं
ल्याङदक ओङदक फलेङ नमलेङ सङ आचुले
Yelhomi naha kudimak manaba apunba oigadobani